My name is Maria de Guadalupe from Argentina. I was born in Argentina in a city called Villa Mercedes in the province of San Luis. I'm the eldest of 5 siblings. I grew up in a family with a lot of faith, a Christian family, where we learned about the faith and to live it in a way that was so natural that we grew up in the faith as we grew up physically. For us, it was something so natural, just like anything else you learned at home. For this reason, we were used to going to daily mass with my parents and praying the rosary every evening as a family. Even so, it's not like I was lined up to be a nun, not even close. I'd never thought about being a religious. No, I never considered it. In reality, I had no references. I didn't know any religious sisters. I knew, or at least I thought I knew, what a religious sister or nun or consecrated was. But in my village, there weren't any religious sisters in that moment, so I didn't have contact with any. To tell the truth, my idea of religious or nuns was pretty negative. I thought, well, a priest. When I saw the parish priest celebrating Mass and the sacraments and carrying out all the pastoral activity, it was something that impressed me a lot. Why wasn't I born a boy, I would think? If I were a boy, I would have become a priest. And of course, the other option was to be a nun. But what could nuns do? What do nuns do? The truth is, I had no idea. Maybe they were bored in their convent. And I thought, it must be that they had no other choice, so they entered the convent. Oh, what a shame that they couldn't get married, so they went to the convent. And they had problems. She was ugly. Poor thing, she was so ugly that she went to the convent. Those were the ideas that I had. It's funny now, but that's the idea that a lot of people have nowadays about religious and nuns. I had a normal life, and I spent time in the parish. Of course, I was in the parish groups and in the parish choir. I liked singing and songs, so I was in the parish choir. We went on missions. I worked for Caritas, summer camps. And I also had a very active social life with a lot of friends. I loved going out. Thanks be to God, when I was young, we had wholesome fun. My memories of that time with my friends and from the parish and from school are beautiful ones. So, the truth is that my character and my way of thinking was such that it would never fit in with being a nun. For me, that was something like being quiet, sad, bored, and all these things that I imagined, right? But anyway, I finished school, high school, and then I went to college. I began to study economics. I liked math a lot. My dad was a math teacher. And I began to study at the university, and I realized that maybe my path wasn't defined yet. I realized that I was studying, and that my studies were going very well, and that everything was fine in the parish and with my friends. I had a car that I bought with my brother. It was a used car. In theory, you could say that everything was going well. But when night came, and I'd go to bed, I thought, is this it? Is this always going to be all there is? I felt like my heart was restless and empty in some way. And even though what I did were good things, it wasn't enough. And when I thought of having a family, getting married to a nice man, having a lot of children, the truth is, it seemed so little to me. I felt like I wanted to embrace the whole world, the entire world. Not only one family, but everybody. But I didn't know how. I didn't know what all this was about. And it was then that a priest, my parish priest, proposed the idea of doing spiritual exercises. That is, a retreat. Ignatian spiritual exercises that I'd never done before. And I had certain preconceptions of those types of things and said, I'm not going on one of those retreats because I know how it goes. They take the girls there, brainwash them, and they all come back as nuns. I'm not going. I'm fine just as I am. I don't need anything. But he insisted so much, and in the end I said, I'll go. But just because I was tired of his insisting. I'll go to the spiritual exercises, but I warn you that the moment the priest begins to speak about the vocation in consecrated life and all that, I'm getting up and leaving. And he said, okay, whatever you want. I went to the exercises, and there were about 25 of us. I can't remember whether there were 3 or 4 days of exercises, and I was sitting at the back, almost challenging, waiting for the moment in which the priest would say something or throw his dart. So the first day, nothing happened. It was just the meditations of the exercises, according to St. Ignatius. The first day, nothing. The second day, I thought, here it comes, I'm sure now, but not a word about vocation. Not a word. And I began to get worried. On the third day, I thought, I can't believe that he's not going to say anything about the vocation. He has to speak about the vocation. And I was upset. I was upset that he didn't speak about this topic in the end. It was bothering me. So when it was time for the last meditation, which is the contemplation to reach love in the spiritual exercises, so when Father began to give the points of meditation, I thought, here it comes, the last one in the last talk. Because, of course, after 3 days of praying, you think, oh, this is all so beautiful. This is so beautiful. And then take that. The best thing you can do with your life is becoming religious and into the consecrated life. And I thought, I'm so sure that it's coming now. But nothing. Just the points for meditation, contemplation to reach love. And I was practically in despair. I went to the chapel, and with the book on the exercises, I looked up election and everything that has to do with the vocation. And I realized that I was trying to escape, wanting to run away from what God was in fact asking of me. And deep down, I was desiring so much and so ardently. It was there. And it was an unforgettable moment, and so intimate and personal that I can't even explain it. It was God calling to the religious life. His calling is so different and unique for each one, and so difficult to express. But in that moment, it caused an incredible happiness. It was amazing. And I understood that that was my path, and that I had to give myself to the Lord completely, and that was the way I would be happy. I understood that my heart would be filled, and in that way I would embrace the whole world. I was so happy after those exercises. It was like touching heaven. The others laugh now because out of those 25, I'm the only one that became a nun. So time passed, a few months, and I always tell this to young people who are considering or discerning God's call. You have to take into account that the devil makes the most of these last moments and seconds before concretizing your vocation, because he knows better than we do what a consecrated person can do for the church and in the world. So he gets out all his artillery, all of it, in these last moments. I remember that I came back so happy and in so much consolation, but moments of doubt came, and it was like, I have to leave everything? My family, my studies, the parish, and I began to think of intermediate solutions, I'll do more apostolate in the parish, and I'll go to another parish group, and later on, all my children will go to the parish groups, and I'll be a lay missionary living with my family, and so many other things that I wanted to do to compensate a little bit and make God happy, but without having to give so much of myself. In the moment to concretely give my yes, it was so difficult. And so I thought of setting a trap. I thought of setting God a trap. I thought, look, I'll speak with my parents, and I'll tell them the news that I want to be religious. and they're going to say no. The most likely thing is that they'll say no. And they don't think it's a good idea. And it was something new in my family. And when they say no, Lord, what am I going to do? My parents won't let me. I would have liked to, but I really did desire, but my parents won't let me. Oh, what a shame. So I went to speak with my parents, and I said, a few months ago I did spiritual exercises. Well, I've seen clearly that God is calling me to the consecrated life, to be a religious sister. And my parents said, oh, what a blessing from God. And I thought, oh no, I don't have any more excuses. And that's when I realized that was enough. Enough escaping. I couldn't continue running away or escaping or crying over every little thing that I would have to leave. I began to look for the congregation. I remember that I visited lots of congregations, among them the one that I belong to now. And one of the things that caught my attention, and what made me feel like I was at home when I visited, and that when I went I knew it was my place, was how poor the place was. It was such a precarious place, so simple, so poor. And those young girls and those sisters of the recently founded congregation, the joy that they had together with that poverty. I remember visiting convents thinking, no, I'm not going to leave everything to have everything again. If it's like that, then I'm not going to leave. I'll stay in my house. If I leave everything, I leave everything. And that was what I later experienced when I entered the congregation of the Incarnate Word, being able to live this. These are the graces which Father Carlos Buela, the founder of our congregation, asked for and continues to ask for. Poverty and persecution, which we certainly have lived and we're living. And on top of that, joy. The joy that God gives us in the religious life, and which is such a mystery.